Salute to each and every one of you guys. So today the New York Knicks signed 25-year-old guard wing from the Orlando Magic, Dwayne Bacon. He was just released by the Orlando Magic on August 8th. The Knicks have now picked up a guy who was drafted in the second round from FSU. First onto the Charlotte Hornets, was there for 3 years until he moved into the Magic. The Knicks will be taking on a guy who shot or generated 10.9 points last season, 40.2% shooting from the field, 28.5% from the three-point line, but 82.4% from the stripe to go along with about 27 minutes a night. Again, I think he's more of a depth signing. I don't think there's anything truly significant about his game per se. And we know that he's not really a good shooter or a good scorer. He did have a season high of about 28 last season against the Hornets, but that could have been a revenge game for him. He's not really adept on the court offensively. Just looking at some of his statistics, he shot 53% at the rim, which is ranked in 11th percentile, 38% from the mid-range, which is below average, terrible from the corner threes. Terrible in threes altogether. He's just not really a good offensive player. I think the only place where he actually ranked okay at were dribble handoffs and off screens in the pick and roll, corner synergy. And the pick and roll is actually the only place where he actually graded out positively given the amount of touches he had, where he actually was utilized quite often in the pick and roll. Relative to some other categories, he scored 39.2% from the field, and he generated about 0.921 points per possession, ranking in the 66th percentile. So again, he's not the most offensively adept. He did have that game against the Knicks where he scored about, I think, 15 or 16 in a winning effort, but that was mostly because of Terrence Ross dropping about 30 plus on us. When you look at him, maybe he fits off the bench as a slight rotational piece. Obviously, losing guys like Reggie Bullock and Elfrid Payton hurts your backcourt defensively, and then bringing on a guy like Kemba Walker who's still recovering from a knee injury, and Derrick Rose who's getting up there in age, and then also Evan Fournier who's he's an okay defender. You wouldn't really compare him and Bullock regarding defense. You definitely have to, I guess, bolster that position. But then when you look at him, when you look at his defense, it actually wasn't that good last year either. It was the interesting thing. According to Synergy, he was actually a pretty poor man defender. And it seems that when he got more minutes this year at 25.7, I think I said 27.5 before, excuse me for that, he actually graded out even worse. He was not a good defender whatsoever. He was only solid in the post-ups, where I guess he used some of his strength at 6'6", 221, and in the pick and roll man. He wasn't good in the pick and roll defense. He really was just poor all across the board. He's ranked out really poorly as a man defender. But the year before with the Hornets, where he averaged about 17.5 minutes a night, primarily being used off the bench, he did rank really well defensively across the board. The corner synergy, he was really good in 4 key categories. Pick and roll, spot ups, he was really good at. And so maybe that's how Tom Thibodeau, these guys are seeing him as. Obviously, he's not going to get 27.5 minutes a night, but at maybe 17 minutes a night, maybe he's useful for the Knicks, a team kind of devoid of that wing defense. Like corner synergy again, spot up shots, pick and roll, ball handling, handoffs, off screens. He ranked really well. He ranked in the 99th percentile for handoffs, dribble handoffs, defending the dribble handoffs. Spot ups, he ranked in the 86th percentile. Pick and roll, ball handler, 79th, and off screens, 85. So again, maybe it's utilizing him less minutes. And I'm kind of surprised because you would think with Steve Clifford, who's a defensive coach who does have some offensive chops, you would think that he would probably grade out a little bit better, but maybe it was the minutes. And again, that team last year was just kind of disarray. There were injuries here and there. So maybe Dwayne Bacon can find a role in the Knicks. And when we talk about the role with the Knicks, we also still have to look at who's he taking minutes from. If Tom Thibodeau wants his guy to come in for 10 to 15 minutes a night and be the defensive hound, to play alongside, say, Rose and IQ, I guess you still have to fit some minutes here and there for Burks, but I'm just not sure where does Dwayne Bacon get his minutes from for a team that I felt, would come into the season trying to utilize Grimes, and I know Grimes would probably be situational, but even try to find some rotational minutes here for him where he can build up his confidence, play the defense, hard-nosed defense, go out there and play with a high level of effort. Maybe you can have him build himself up, and then for next season he takes on a bigger role, especially in the offense. But I guess with Dwayne Bacon coming in, a guy who really can't shoot to save his life, really is not that great of a scorer either. He will be in some of those rotational minutes, especially at the wing position, where I feel that we're a little bit weak at. We have some really small wings. Not even say small because he's 6'6", but I wish we would have like one of these 6'8", 6'9" kind of wings who could man the three, be able to defend from 1 to 3. But anyway, with Dwayne Bacon, I'll be really interested to see how Tom Thibodeau utilizes him, if that cuts into the development of Grimes. And again, Grimes can also develop, sit on a bench, understand the game, watching the game. In those situation minutes, if he messes up, obviously it's the whole merit system. You mess up, you come out, you do okay, you play more minutes. Dwayne Bacon, especially for a guy like Grimes, I'm looking at, if I'm Grimes, I'm looking at it as a litmus test to say I have to be able to beat this guy out, make it so that it's a decent enough some cost that I could get some minutes this season and be at a guy like Dwayne Bacon. But we will definitely see. Again, it's interesting that his defense kind of dipped with more minutes, but we will see how he fares out this season, where he fares out, where he fits. Obviously, it seems like we were kind of developing that from last year, but we are somewhat of a win now team. That makes sense. But a guy like Grimes, for what they profile him as, you would think that he would get some minutes here and there, be able to develop and then use his perimeter shooting to benefit the team while still developing other parts of his game, such as attacking the basket, which he was poor at, finishing at the basket, which he was poor at in college, as well as using picks, screens to kind of get him the space so he could work on his mid-range shooting, and then also unguarded catch and shoots, where he ranked out fairly poorly in college, at least last year. So we will see. But until then, guys, peace, salute, God bless. We out.